Welcome to the vlog of me and my family's trip to Switzerland. We were a family of seven, pretty large. We went to Switzerland for a period of 5 days, which I don't think is enough, but sufficient to cover all the major places. Since we are a family of seven, we decided to rent a car because I love driving and I wanted to experience it in Europe. And here we realized the number of luggage that we have. I was kind of worried whether it'll fit into our vehicle, which was a Mercedes V Class. I believe it is a pretty large van. And thankfully, we were able to stuff all of our luggages inside. And since my daughter is little under 2 years old, she still needed a car seat, which we were able to bring as well. I absolutely loved driving in Switzerland. Thankfully, the side of the road is the same as that of US. But only one thing that I noticed was a lot of the road signs kind of felt like scribbles. It was not as clean cut as that in the US, but it was a pretty good ride. Everything was in kilometers. It reminded me of my time driving in India. But overall it was a very pleasant experience, and I did not have any issues despite one of the largest vehicles I've ever driven. And overall the trip went very well. And another thing that I noticed is that there were a lot of tunnels because Switzerland is filled with mountains, and so they figured out a way to get to one place to other through all these large massive tunnels, and it was quite fun driving in them as well. We also stopped along the way to buy some water, and as you can see, the car that I was talking about, the van in which all of us traveled, pretty big. The first thing we noticed by buying the water was how expensive things were. The currency was Swiss francs, which I think it's a little over $1. But the first place we stopped was Lucerne. Lucerne was beautiful. It's a historic city, lot of bridges, a beautiful river that flows through as well. Very scenic place to be in, and we were pretty excited to stop by because we didn't have our Airbnb check-in up until 4 p.m. later on because we landed early in the morning. So we walked through these very photogenic European streets, took a bunch of photos, and since it was a first stop, we decided to have some food over there as well. I'd made reservations in a cafe pretty early on as well, so pretty excited about this. My daughter is also very excited. As you can clearly see, she's trying to feed me because she has realized how hungry I was with all the driving and the hours of flying that we had to get there. But the food was good. It was Swiss cuisine, cheese, fondue, stuff like that. We were still looking for Indian restaurants, and from what you've heard, there were lots of Indian restaurants, especially in Interlaken. After food, we decided to visit the Lindt chocolate museum and factory, which was on the way to our Airbnb in Grindelwald as well. And as you can see, traveling with an infant, rather toddler, is pretty interesting to keep changing the diapers along the way. But thankfully, we had a lot of help. One of the advantages of traveling with so many people is that the child is well looked after. As you can clearly see, I'm busy wrapping up the diaper to dispose it off. Thankfully, my parents were there. Sana and her parents were there as well, so it was pretty good. We're pretty excited because we heard a lot about the Lindt museum. Lindt is one of the most popular chocolates out there. I did have my expectations pretty high, and then when we actually visited the store, it was massive. Of course, there were a lot of handmade chocolates that are available. We also bought a couple of handmade chocolates where they were offering complimentary text that could be written on the chocolate, which we did as well. We got one for my dad because it was his birthday and we wanted to celebrate it. As you can clearly see Sana's eyes, she was pretty excited looking at all the chocolates, and they also were giving out free complimentary Lindt chocolates as well, which was really good. And since this was a kind of a last minute plan, we didn't book for the tour that we had that they had as well. But I think the visit to the store and eventually the cafe was really good. Especially I like the Dubai chocolate, the viral chocolate that's there. They have a version of it available as well, and as always, everything was pretty expensive, very touristy, but totally worth a visit. Surprised to see a lot of Indians in the place as well. And you see my dad and Kyo taking a picture, and then this was the famous statuette of the Lindt chocolate flowing through as well. And then we reached our Airbnb in Grindelwald. It was absolutely amazing. It was like a chalet, a house with 3 rooms. I wanted to get a place like this because then all our families can stay together. We can spend time in the living quarters. It was pretty well built. This is one of the highest rated Airbnbs in Grindelwald. Obviously, European houses are different from American houses in the sense that there's not as many showers available. Hot water is hard to come by, and there's a lot of energy savings happening. Unlike in US, where there's a lot of abundance and and larger than life in terms of a lot of the resources. But we absolutely loved our Airbnb, especially the view which you will see in some time. The mountains surrounding Grindelwald was amazing. Grindelwald is this village nestled in between mountains, so I think we chose the right place. As you can see, this is the view from our Airbnb. Absolutely fantastic. There was a fireplace which we used as well. You know, these mountains reminded me of the mountains in the Toblerone chocolates, which also happen to be from Switzerland. Looking at the beautiful views, we decided to take a stroll through the streets of Grindelwald. It just felt like one main street where everything was surrounding it, and the walk obviously is very, very scenic. The weather was perfect. In Europe, I've heard that people don't like having ACs, but it's fine because the weather was so good. The stores that you see along the way is pretty good as well. A lot of cows, a lot of dairy, souvenirs central, so many shops that are open. This is a classic tourist place, but it was well kept, very walking friendly. Obviously, we did not waste any time clicking photos. Kyu seems very happy at the whole situation, and the next day we decided to visit Grindelwald First. It's spelled first. It was a walking distance away from my Airbnb, which was great. Now, to reach Grindelwald First, which is on top of a mountain, we had to take a cable car. And you know, Switzerland has a lot of cable cars because of the geographic situation, so we're pretty excited and thankful that the First station was pretty nearby. The cable car ride was absolutely beautiful. As you can see, a lot of mountains, a lot of greeneries, a lot of cows with bells hanging around their necks, which you can hear from a large distance. And as you can clearly see, Kyu is also pretty excited. She's looking at all the beautiful scenery out there, and we're pretty excited to get to the Grindelwald First. It is probably one of the most famous tourist destinations in Switzerland, and the trip overall, I don't think it was very long. I remember it being 20 to 25 minutes. It was smooth, absolutely beautiful. I've gone to a few cable cars in Gatlinburg, for example, in Tennessee. It's also scenic, but not as scenic as this. It is beautifully built, and the journey was absolutely amazing. Upon reaching the top, our first destination was the cliff walk, which I've heard so much about, and I was quite looking forward to. Obviously, the view from here again is just breathless. It is worth all the travel that we need to do to get there, and we're pretty excited about the first cliff walk as well. First cliff walk. It was kind of like this system of a walk, a footpath which is completely see-through, built around the side of the mountains. Once in a lifetime experience, of course. The scenery was breathtaking. It did feel scary in the beginning, but after a while we kind of settled into it. We really started enjoying the whole trip. It was kind of like walking in the skies almost. Even though the pathway was porous, it was stroller friendly, which is great. And of course, at the tippy top of the cliff walk, we had a huge queue, a line of people waiting to take pictures. This won't be the first time we'll be seeing that. We finally made our way through, took amazing pictures, and then we moved on to have some food over here, regular Swiss food, lasagna, burgers, and so on. We just decided to have some coffee from this place. I'm telling you, the cappuccino that I've had in Switzerland is perhaps one of the best. It is amazing. Even without sugar, it just tastes delicious. Just looking around at all the different options to have a restaurant on top of a mountain is quite an experience. And of course, sitting outside on the tables again is breathtaking. Kiara was quite excited about the food as usual. She wanted cappuccino, which of course she couldn't have, and she was upset about it as well. But our first stop over here, where we all had cappuccinos, these delicious cappuccinos, was totally worth it, and it was quite refreshing as well. And at the end of the day, this is what we are here for, just to take a step back, relax, look at the surroundings, just take in the wondrous beauty of the nature and everything man-made that we have built to kind of maximize the absorption of this beauty that we have. Thankfully, we didn't have to wait a long time on the line. As you can see, the queue just keeps on increasing as we go along. We also decided to explore surrounding places. There was a lake Bakalpsi, which was about a 15-minute walk, which we started off with a lot of enthusiasm, but within 2 minutes, all of us got gassed out. We got exhausted because it's quite a journey, and of course, we had Kiara as well. So we decided to just go a little distance here. My dad, as you can see, full of enthusiasm, ready to walk the next, or rather trek the next 1 hour. But all of us decided we were better off enjoying the nature rather than trekking miles and miles through it. Overall, the First was an amazing experience. Again, expensive, just like everything else for the cable car and the trip. There were also a lot of adventure stuff, those I don't know what you call it, paragliding and zip lining, but obviously we didn't do it because we were able to enjoy the nature, as it were. And then we were walking back from Grindelwald First to our Airbnb, which was about 10 minutes. Again, as you can see, Grindelwald is absolutely beautiful. There were a few cars, vehicles running around, but other than that, the roads were largely empty. The next thing we decided to do was to hit the supermarket, which thankfully we had one nearby. It was called the Coop. We just wanted to buy some stuff so that we can cook some food in our Airbnb, probably have some good breakfast and lunch, which we did. And since this was the first time going to a supermarket in Europe, at least for me, we really didn't know what to expect, but it was quite an experience. So we went to the Coop, and not surprising, almost all the labels were in German, which I must say it sounds very, very harsh to pronounce it, so I did not understand what most of them meant. So much so that when we bought water in the very beginning, we actually bought soda instead of water, which was quite a surprise when we got it. Again, should have used more of Google Translate, but knowing it's a tourist place, they should have had some English translation as well. And of course, mostly people over there were helpful in guiding us, but of course we came across a couple of employees of the supermarket who were obviously very frustrated with so many questions being asked for them. And as you can see, you won't be able to read or understand what is written on the labels largely, so we had to take a really good guess, and most of the guesses except the soda came out to be correct. So that was a good sign overall. Another interesting thing we noticed was that some of the eggs, there was colored eggs that were available, multicolored eggs. I don't know why or who would want them, but that was one of the options. Again, everything else was pretty beautiful. Lots and lots of tourists. A lot of tourists preferred to go by trains and buses in Switzerland as well, so everyone was carrying around their luggage as well wherever they went. Thankfully, we had a rental car, which I think was a really good decision. After successfully making all the purchases, we decided to walk back to our Airbnb. Now, one of the reasons that I personally wanted to visit Switzerland was, of course, the scenery, but I've also heard a lot about it or seen a lot of it in the Bollywood movies. DDLJ, Kaho Na Pyar Hai, I believe. And I've heard that there was a Yash Chopra statue somewhere, so I wanted to find that out. I heard it was in Interlaken. But we also had different options to decide where to stay when we came to Switzerland. So we decided Grindelwald was good because it was reasonably close to the major locations like Interlaken or Lauterbrunnen, where we really wanted to visit. And of course, the views, as you can see, it's surrounded by mountains on all sides. Taking the rental car, like I said earlier, was a very good option. A lot of people prefer going by buses and trains on public transport, which also is a pretty good option. But driving through the streets of Europe, Switzerland specifically, was absolutely beautiful and breathtaking. These mountains never cease to amaze, because in some of these mountains, if you noticed, there's snow on top of it, even though the weather was pretty pleasant outside, very, very walkable as well. And Grindelwald just felt like this one big street with the historic looking houses, stores, shops, a lot of food options, the parks where kids can play. And of course, like you can see, it's very walkable. Grindelwald First was about 10 minutes away. Our Airbnb is just on the right side of the building. You see in the front, it's kind of like a chalet with a view to the mountains. But overall, our first day experience was pretty good. Next day, we had planned to go to Interlaken and explore that area as well. But our first day was very, very fulfilling. Even though we landed, I don't think any of us felt tired. We were taking in everything that we can in this place, and the grocery shopping really did help us in preparing a good breakfast the very next day. And the walking, of course, really made us hungry for the delicious food. The next day, we decided to hit Interlaken, which was again a beautiful city. Not so much nature, but pretty well developed tourist area as well. A lot of adventure sports. And of course, the first place we hit was the Indian restaurant Maharajas. It's very highly rated. Food was delicious, I must say. And then finally we saw the Yash Chopra statue as well, which is pretty amazing to see an Indian director statue in the major city outside of India. Interlaken was again really interesting. There was Harder Kulm, which was again a mountain of sorts where we had to go, which we went the very next day. A lot of historic hotels and restaurants as well. There's a huge lake running in between. It's called Interlaken because it's interconnecting two lakes, I believe. And this is a major train station where we saw a lot of people coming in. The mountains you see on the left is where Harder Kulm is. Harder Kulm, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, is another way where you can get through a cable car. It gives you a view of the two lakes which the city connects as well. And so the next day we decided to go through a gondola to a place called Mürren. Mürren apparently is this place where it has one of the highest waterfalls. It is a village of sorts where vehicles are not allowed to be driven except the emergency ones. And so we reached Mürren again through a cable car. Mürren was very interesting because, like I said, it's a car-free village or town. Unfortunately, it was raining quite a bit when we got there. Mürren was an interesting place. Like I said, we reached pretty early on. There didn't seem to be anybody on the roads. Unfortunately, it was raining quite a bit. I think there's a lot of rain in Switzerland because that's one of the reasons why you can see these lush vegetation, lush grass, and greenery all around. Probably is because of the rain. But because of the rain, we didn't have any umbrellas or ponchos, so we couldn't walk around. So me and Sana decided to walk a little bit and go to one of the coops the grocery store to try and find if they have any ponchos where everyone can wear and again walk around. It did seem that we were pretty early to Mürren. Most of the stores were closed. Thankfully, Google Maps was working, so we were able to explore a bit, walk around a bit. It's a unique situation because in the US, I don't think you'll be able to find a city or a place where you can walk without a lot of crowd, a lot of vehicles driving around. So this was pretty unique. It was obviously very beautiful. The houses again seemed very historic. The greenery and it was all well put together. And of course, with all the walking, we did get hungry. So again, since we are pretty early, we did not know if any shops, any restaurants, any cafes would be open, but thankfully we did find one. But that did not stop us from exploring Mürren. So again, we kept on walking. We thankfully found ponchos, and you can see everyone wearing. Even Kiara was wearing a poncho. It was good. We should have bought ponchos pretty early on as well. And so wearing them, we braved the weather and we decided to make our way through this village. Again, when we started coming in, there was a lot of tourists trickling in as well. As we were walking, I was just thinking about how fortunate I am that I'm able to get my parents, my in-laws, my wife, my daughter in this beautiful once-in-a-lifetime trip. And of course, it was actually my dream come true to travel with my whole family, which I've been able to in this. And despite all the rain, despite all the wind, despite everything, we still were able to. And just the fact that we as a family were able to explore this and other beautiful places, seeing everything for the first time, seeing the people, seeing the culture, seeing the Google Maps, trying to discover places to go, places to eat. It's quite an experience. And as you can see, my daughter is also in the poncho, which is very 2 sizes too big for her. She's still able to enjoy this. We had no problem. My daughter was very accommodating. It seems like she does love traveling and being in different places, and of course having both the parents really did help in traveling, because if it was just me and Sana and Kiara, it might have been harder than this. But going together as a family, again, just exploring this place, I think everyone in general had a good time, and Switzerland is definitely a place to take your family as well. It's generally safe. It is people are usually nice, very pro-touristy. There's a lot of things to do, a lot of places to visit, a lot of things to eat. And while we were waiting for the coffee shop to open, I decided to explore on my own, walking through some smaller paths in Mürren. These paths, of course, you couldn't push a stroller through it as easily as you like, but it was pretty good. Despite the rain, it seemed very well kept together. As you can see, a lot of the hedges, a lot of the grass seemed very trimmed, and I would definitely recommend it. And of course, since there's a bit of a uphill walk as well, in a lot of situations you do tend to get tired. And I can walk for some time. I do play pickleball sometimes, but I did get tired, and so I felt a little bad that my parents had to walk so much, and they do get tired eventually. But I think the scenery just makes it totally worth it. Just taking in, just imagining the situation where you are in the middle of Europe, in one of the most beautiful countries, hands down, one of the most beautiful countries there ever is, and just having the opportunity to just explore, walk around and see things is just great. I was also thinking of what we had planned next, as well. And since we all came as a family, I tried to stay away from adventure sports, which there were lots and lots of options in Switzerland. Maybe next time if I go, me and Sana can paraglide as well. There are a lot of great paragliding options that they had. And one of the things that I have been admiring about this country is how everything, even though I'm sure all these houses were built centuries ago, it does seem very, very well put together. I mean, just look at the grass over here and over the mountains as well. Does somebody actually mow these lawns? Does somebody actually maintain this actively, or is it just naturally it does look like this? Because I would imagine it would be very hard for someone to just go over to the mountains, side of the mountains, and just mow the lawn all day long. I did see a couple of trucks that were mowing some of the lawn, kind of keeping it in beauty, as they say. But I have to admit that just the whole country looks like a postcard. The whole country looks so photogenic, and I think it's one of the reasons why a lot of people come here. Granted, my wife, she loves taking pictures, even for Instagram, and if you were to go to a country to take pictures for Instagram, it would definitely be Switzerland, even though it's kind of expensive wherever you go, whatever you do. But I think all the money that they get from tourists is well put forth to maintain the whole place. This place specifically, Mürren, I think we were a little early, and so that's why even though I've been walking for the last 10-15 minutes, I did not see a single soul through some of these small streets. But granted, even Mürren, it felt like just one big road that looped around with all the stores and restaurants lined. So that was there. And then as I was walking again, I was just thinking of how fortunate I am that I'm able to experience all of this and experience this beautiful country, this beautiful world that we are in. And I just wish that a lot of other places also took so much care in maintaining the natural side of things, as well as the man-made buildings and other amenities as well. And so with all this walking, I was hungry and so was everyone else. So we actually found a cafe which was open. So we had some croissants. Some of the croissants were really, really good. It was freshly made. As you can see, the happiness in everyone's faces when we had the food. And then we eventually decided to make our way back to the gondola to go back to Steckelberg Falls. So Steckelberg Falls, from my understanding, is one of the longest waterfalls in Europe. Again, just like everything, it is very scenic, but as we were walking, we also saw a very thick fog coming in. It did block a lot of the views that we were expecting to get from Mürren, but that the fog kind of went through quite fast, so that did not affect our experience by a lot. So slowly, as you can see, the stores started opening up, restaurants started opening up. There were some very beautiful baby clothes, Swiss traditional baby clothes that we wanted to buy, but thought better of it. And then again, with all the walking, it did get tiring. And as you can see, my dad pulling up his jeans, I think he's losing weight just from all the walking that we did in the last few days and today as well. It's interesting to see a city, a car-free city where cars are not allowed. It's a pretty good concept. Definitely sure to attract a lot of tourists and a lot of people to come and see. And then finally we almost reached the Mürren station, and we decided to make our way back. Mürren station was again very easy, very intuitive, even though most of the things were in German. We booked our tickets well beforehand, which I think was a good decision that we made. And on the way back from our cable car from Mürren, again we were able to see these beautiful, beautiful sights of all the cities and chalets and towns below the mountains. And from my understanding, this gondola is one of the steepest cable cars in the world. So this is the famous falls that I was talking about, these and others as well. It was quite steep. It felt like an elevator more than a cable car. So we decided to walk. When we reached down, we took some picturesque sceneries of these waterfalls. I think this is the longest one that I was talking about, but there were a few other, let's call it waterfalls, trickling in from different places. It was really awe-inspiring to see all these sceneries. Sana is jumping to the chance of taking pictures, which we did. It, I think, came out pretty beautifully, as if someone took it in a studio. And that's the cable car in the very top where we actually went, so you can see how steep, how tall the whole place is. When we came back to Airbnb, obviously we couldn't miss the opportunity to just absorb all the beautiful sceneries around. And it was my idea to ask the ladies to wear the red saris, the classic Bollywood tradition, which they did. The men also wore matching clothes. We did not waste any time making some Bollywood moves along the way. I think Yash Chopra would be really, really proud of what we were able to achieve in this place. Kiara also jumping in on some of the action with the red dress. It was, like I said, a very, very amazing day for everyone. Thanks to the pictures, thanks to the sceneries, thanks to the beautiful trips that we have been a part of. And this is me and Dad wearing matching clothes, matching shirts, which is not very common. Then we decided to go to a very famous cafe. I forgot what it's called, but it's known for its fondue. Fondue, from my understanding, is a very traditional Swiss food where you have melted cheese or chocolate in a pot, and then you dip different stuff and then you consume it. We liked it. It was highly, and this is the chocolate one. I think chocolate one was the best because they gave fruits and waffles and other things and cakes which we could dip into these chocolate bowls, hot chocolate balls, and eat them. It was really, really delicious, and totally worth doing it if you happen to visit Switzerland as well. And this is the picture of me and the entire family, very happy with chocolate fondues in our tummies. Then the next day we decided to go to a bakery near Grindelwald. We loved the croissants that we had, so we really wanted to try it, croissant or prashant or however you call it. And we had a lot of prashants in the way, and of course cappuccino, which was delicious. Then we decided to go back to Interlaken and go to Harder Kulm. Harder Kulm was in Interlaken, so we decided to make our way back. It's like this spot on top of a mountain where again you have to take it's not a cable car, it's kind of like a train. I think it's called a funicular. We had to take kind of like this almost vertical-ish train to get there. But again, we got a chance to walk through the beautiful streets of Interlaken to get there. Again, it was very walking friendly. As you can see, the breadth of the footpath is almost as big as the breadth of the roads where the cars are driven. One problem again with having rental cars is parking. Of course, there are street parking, but I usually preferred to take parking garages, which took some time to make their ways around. But Interlaken is about 40 minutes away from Grindelwald where we were staying, so I think overall it was a good decision. Again, the family is really excited, as you can see, with all the walking that we did. Kiara obviously is very looking forward to it as well. So that top of that mountain is Harder Kulm, and to get there, like I said, we had to take a funicular or a vertical train to reach to the top. It was not very long journey. I think it was about 20 to 25 minutes if I'm not mistaken. And so we finally got into the train. It was breathtaking again. It just went on, and as you rose, you could see the scenery. And the whole point of this place is that that's one of the viewpoints where you can actually see both the lakes, Lake Thun and Lake Brienz, where Interlaken is in the center of both the lakes that we have. And so as we were going around, we went through a couple of tunnels as well. We went through all the scenery, and then finally we reached there, and we decided to walk. Some people also had the option to walk all the way to the top, which is crazy, but some people did, and probably if it's just me and Sana, maybe we could have given it a shot. But for us right now as a family, trains are the best bet. And when we got on top, there was again just breathtaking scenery all along. A lot of tourists came. I think Interlaken is more tourist filled than Grindelwald, and we had to walk on the side of the mountains and take in the beauty, take in the scenery that we have. And of course we couldn't say no to some opportunities to take some pictures. And just like in First cliff walk, we had to wait some time to get to the tip where a lot of people were taking pictures of the beautiful scenery. There was a restaurant here as well, which I don't think was open, or we did not plan to eat from. Again, like I said, it was despite the fog and despite the mist that was building, there is no doubt in my mind that it feels like someone actually drew a painting of the whole place, with the snow, with the different colored mountains, some of them filled with greenery, some of them filled with snow. And this was the scenic photographic point, and you can see a lot of people waiting in line for it. At first I did not see the line, so I just jumped ahead and just was enjoying it. But when I saw the line, I went back. I think, as you can see, it's just so pretty, so beautiful. And you can see one of the lakes on the right, one of the lakes on the left as well. I just couldn't resist taking this video. When they created Windows wallpaper, I think they just came somewhere over here and took a picture. When I went to the corner, obviously there was a lot of people there waiting, and so we had to stand in line. Again, I just could not resist taking in this view with all the pictures and the videos, as you can clearly see. And so for those asking, I'm using I think it's called Insta360, where I can clip on my shirt so that all the videos could be taken. Having this much queue or this many people was not annoying because it was moving quite fast, so I didn't mind waiting for the picture, which I think came out really, really good. As you can see, absolutely scenic, as if someone took it in a studio. These are the two lakes that I was talking about, and this was the scenic part. Very well built, I must say. Just a picturesque beauty. It's as if God just came and made it himself. And so after the picture session, we decided to make our way back. This was again one of the lakes on the left that you can see, and Interlaken in center. We finally reached back, and really, really fulfilling day at this point. I did mention earlier that one of the reasons why I wanted to come to Switzerland was the Bollywood movies, all the inclusions of this beautiful scenery in them. And when I saw the Yash Chopra statue in this place, I just had to admire the fact that how one person could have been responsible for attracting so many people to visit not just a city but a country as well. There is a very old historic hotel, I think it's called St. George on the right, which we also went in to have some tea after a while. And we had parked at some distance away, and so we had to walk all the way, but nobody was complaining because again it was the weather was absolutely beautiful, and the walk was pretty nice as well. And if you notice, you can see a few paragliders on top, and apparently there was this huge park or a ground nearby where a lot of paragliders were landing. So I figured this is one of the places where it's very popular to do that. And you can also see a lot of buses constantly driving here and there. And so for those people who do not take rental cars, I think this could be a good option. And again, as I was walking, I was just so grateful to have this opportunity to explore all this. If I were to visit Switzerland next time, I'd probably stay in Interlaken because it just seems bigger, and it just seems that there's a lot more things to do, a lot more stores and stuff like that. And to my surprise, Grindelwald has one Indian restaurant. Interlaken has what seems like 50 Indian restaurants, because when I open my Google Maps and I searched for Indian restaurants, about 50 of them popped up, and we did go to one yesterday, which was again very delicious. But it just shows the influx of tourists, specifically India, and a lot from Asia as well, from what I've seen, visit this place as well. And Interlaken also has this main road where you could walk and you could see all the places. You can see the St. George's Hotel on the side as well, that was there, and all these historic buildings. I'm just in awe of what has been built of this town, the places to visit and things to see. And we also walked through some of the side roads just to see the different stores. The one on the right is a very famous Toblerone store, where you could customize your Toblerone to say your name or anything else on it. And a lot of these streets, as you can see, is walking only streets. Again, it's a great place, and you obviously cannot miss the large number of tourists that are walking and exploring this beautiful place. I think this was our last or second last day in Switzerland, and so we just didn't want to miss it, and so that's why we decided to walk around. And so on the right, you can see a road where all these beautiful umbrellas on top, where again, I think it was just built for Instagram. I think the whole country is just built for Instagram, where people can come and take pictures all day long and post on their social media. So the last day of Switzerland was I missed it in a way, because it was a whole different experience, a whole different country, whole different culture, whole different people, and it's just a beautiful place, very well put together, where you have a mix of the beauty of nature and all these man-made miracles like the funicular or the cable car and everything else that they have built so nicely in this place. And a lot of these stores were also interesting. We bought a couple of Victorinox knives and keychains that Sana really wanted. Just taking advantage of some of the Swiss precision, Swiss engineering to take home to the US. And nearing the end, we finally reached Grindelwald. There were these very interesting vehicles driving along the roads, and finally we made our way back to Zurich and back to the United States. It was an absolutely beautiful trip, and I'm so fortunate to have experienced this with my family.